Indeed, and I wanted to share it with you all also. And again, note the timing of this. Now, I'm here at the Ufology World Congress, and the reason that I'm here is because they're having a very interesting event and meeting that's going to be taking place this week. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know that CERN is also meeting even as we speak. But this says here, '08 presents the Ufology World Congress, expanding the collective consciousness centered in love. And right here, you see their logo right here, and we're going to be going over more of that because that represents what? The Kabbalah, Kabbalistic teachings, mysticism. It sounds like what? The tree of knowledge. Where else have we heard that before? And then there's also a spiral right there too. But if you keep going on their website, and they're going to be having a conference, and it's going to be taking place in Montserrat, Spain, and this is to be from the 19th all the way up until the 21st of September. And of course, it says right here, consciousness shifting event of a lifetime, and they just so happen to be talking about UFOs and so-called UFOs around the same time as everything else that we're seeing right now. What perfect timing. Now here's their about page right here, and it says right here, quote, expanding the collective consciousness centered in love. Did you hear that? Centered in love. What does that sound like? The push for what? The new world order, the one world government, bringing everyone together in false love and false peace. It's the same darn agenda over and over. But it says right here, the Ufology World Congress unites internationally renowned ufologists, researchers, whistleblowers, teachers, and speakers from around the world in both the English and Spanish language, presenting groundbreaking information in the field of ufology. And guess what? Around the same time, they're not the only ones doing this, because the United Nations is also doing the exact same thing at their General Assembly, which we'll also be talking about later on in the video to come. Now it says here, a 3-day Congress located in the mountain of Montserrat, Barcelona, Spain, which is an interesting choice of location, and I'll be talking more about that later on. It says here, the Congress shall take place on one stage so that the information share is experienced by one unified consciousness. Did you hear that? Unifying as one. What does that sound like? All Congress attendees who require translation will receive earpiece translators for the duration of the Congress. Now, this is according to their website. They claim that the core message that they wish to convey is love, forgiveness, and compassion for all of humanity, despite the surfacing information in the field of ufology and politics, or politricks. Then they claim that they want to unite and expand the collective consciousness with groundbreaking information in the field of ufology. Sounds like a disclosure, even though we know the truth about so-called UFOs and what they really truly are. And it says here, to reach a worldwide audience of different nationalities for the largest disclosure possible, just like we just talked about. And we know darn well that NASA and all those other alphabet soups, how are they getting ready for this? With Project Bluebeam. Do you see how all of this is connecting? They're getting ready, and they're already conditioning people's minds to come together and get ready for what? The arrival of so-called aliens, because their next one even says, and they even tell you, that they're preparing a collective consciousness for what? Extraterrestrial integration. Did you hear that? Now, like I said earlier ago, it's also interesting to note the location where they're going to be having this. It's going to be at the Montserrat Mountain, and it says here, throughout history, this mountain has been renowned as a very mystical location. In Montserrat, many ley lines cross and pass through, so the vibratory energy is naturally of a high frequency. These lines greatly assist the impact the information shared at the Congress has on the collective consciousness, according to them, through harnessing the influence of Earth's natural energy grid. Then they also talk about how this place is home to many myths and different legends and traditions and Arthurian myths, and also many other things when it comes to consciousness and other things. Oh my goodness, what are they getting ready for? Because then they say towards the bottom of this, the nature of the Congress and the unique location make it an ideal place for creating what they call huge global shift in the collective consciousness. What are they really trying to do? Now, this is the website that's also hosting the event. It comes from 08presents.com. But even just looking at their homepage, once again, what do you see right here? You see what looks to be what? The Kabbalah symbol, indeed, in mysticism and Kabbalistic traditions and teachings and ideologies. Now, like I said, I just find that very interesting and suspicious indeed, the timing, how it's meeting from the 19th of September all the way up until the 21st of September. Like I said, and noted in many other videos, the same time as the CERN meetings that are taking place for their Awake collaboration meeting. The better question is, what are they trying to awake and what are they trying to get access to? And lately, that's all they've been forecasting and showing in predictive programming in films such as The Fifth Wave and many other movies like Alien Covenant. The list goes on and on when it comes to what? The arrival of so-called aliens and UFOs and disclosures. And your elite, they've already told you that soon enough they want to make disclosure. What are they about to do? Now, will it be on September 23rd or in the month of September this year? We do not know. We're not saying that, but we know it's coming soon. Great delusions are coming to a sky near you whenever that is. Now, I'm here at Wikipedia that talks more about this mountain where this event is going to be held. As you can see, it's called Montserrat. Now, interesting, if you unscramble it, you actually get the word monster rat, which I thought was very interesting and suspicious indeed. But this just gives more information about the mountain. But what I really wanted to turn your attention to is right here in the so-called myths that are associated with it, because they also claim that this is the location of what they call the Holy Grail in Arthurian myth. And upon doing just a quick research from this, you see that it's a vessel that serves as an important motive in Arthurian literature. Different traditions describe it as a cup, dish, or stone, what they call miraculous powers that provide happiness, eternal youth, or sustenance in infinite abundance. What does that sound like? It sounds like what? The beast and the beast technology. It sounds just like what? Satan offering to Eve the apple to know knowledge. Now they claim that the Messiah drank from this cup at the Last Supper, but do you see how all of this is related? Do you see how it's all integrated and how it's all connected? The fact that the ufology is actually meeting this week along the exact same time as CERN. And yes, this should concern you. This should concern all of us. And you want to know the reason why? Because they're having their advanced Wakefield experiment meeting. Again, what are they trying to awake? Now, if you're not familiar with CERN, CERN hosts the largest particle accelerator in the entire world, known as the Large Hadron Collider. They also have a Shiva statue that's located right outside of their building, and of course they claim that, oh, it's only a gift from India and that's it, nothing more, even though Shiva just so happens to be the Indian idol of destruction. Like I said, I've gone over this more in my CERN video, but just to summarize, they're meeting this week, and it just so happens that the machine, the LHC, is actually going to be turned off for the duration of the rest of the week, but will then be turned back on of all days on September 23rd, 2017, the same time as the fulfillment of the Revelation 12 sign that will be shown in the sky. No surprise or coincidence there whatsoever. And as we know too, what is CERN trying to do? They're trying to awaken to other doorways and portals. They're trying to what? Bring about the end of times with what? The Tower of Babel, the release of the giants. That's what they're trying to do. And it's no surprise that the ufologies are also meeting the exact same time frame. What perfect timing indeed. And then, of course, we cannot forget about the United Nations, who has a slew of events going on, and we're going to be talking all about them from this week all the way up until next week. Now, they have their 72nd session, and they actually met starting as of September 12th, 2017, so about a week ago. Now, interestingly enough, when they met back on September 12th, what they talked about is focusing on the world's people. But are they actually doing that? And if they're doing that, are they keeping their focus on depopulation? Well, let's find out, because here is a list of their events, and I'll be sure to link it in the description box below. Now, as of the September 18th, they had a meeting about prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse, building momentum for change. Then they also have their general debate, which is in the General Assembly Hall from the 19th through the 25th of September, and then the 26th of September, ironically enough, 3 days following the Revelation 12 sign, they just so happen to have a meeting that has to do with total elimination of nuclear weapons, according to them, even though we know the truth about that. And then right after that, they have meetings about what? Combating trafficking in persons. Well, your UN is the one that's doing it and funding human trafficking worldwide. So it's no surprise or coincidence whatsoever that they're gathering world leaders to talk about such things. And now their general debate starts today, actually, as of September 19th, all decent life for all on a sustainable planet, even though we know the truth about that. And what? We know what comes after peace and safety. And then, right after their General Assembly on the 26th of September is when they have what's called International Day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons, according to them. And we know that they're pushing the North Korea propaganda. Why are they doing such things at such a time as this? But ironically enough, they just so happen to have on their website a sculpture depicting St. George slaying the dragon, which is very reminiscent of the dragon that's found in Revelation 12 sign, the same sign that's going to be fulfilled and now a couple of days from now. Do you see what time it is? They're literally putting it in front of your face. As usual, they're putting it right in front of your face, just like they put it right in front of your face with the Georgia Guidestones, which is what? Depopulate the plane to 500 million. And it just so happens that they also talk about how this event and this day provides an occasion for the world community to reaffirm its commitment to worldwide nuclear disarmament as a high priority, because that's what they're trying to do. It is the right place to address one of humanity's greatest challenges, achieving what they call what? The peace and security, peace and safety of a world without nuclear weapons. Where else have I seen this? Because the UN will also be hosting their International Day of Peace as of September 21st, 2017, which will be the last day of the ufology conference meeting that will be held in Spain, 2 days before CERN cranks back up their LHC machine as they recommission it on the 21st, and 2 days before the Revelation 12 sign. Oh, what perfect timing, no surprise or a coincidence whatsoever. And if you already have not known, can you guess the theme of 2017? That's right, it's quote, Together for Peace, Respect, Safety, and Dignity for All. Their theme is togetherness, which is what? Merging together as a new world order, coming together, mobilizing the people, just like what the ufology meeting is trying to do too when it comes to so-called UFOs. You see the word peace and safety here in the same sentence? Do you know what time it is? Now, like I said, I'll be sure to link all of this in the description box below so you can take a look at it on your own time, but it even reads right here where it says this year the International Day of Peace will focus on engaging and mobilizing people throughout the world to show support for refugees and migrants. Its messages will be shared with communities hosting refugees and migrants, as well as people concerned that refugees and migrants may bring physical and economic insecurity to their lives. But isn't the UN and your government and the Zionist elite at the top, like Soros and all those other ones, aren't they the ones bringing in these refugees and putting them into European nations and other nations on purpose in order to fulfill their plans of divide and conquer? Hasn't Merkel and all those other ones said the exact same things? Of course they have, but then it says the day will highlight solidarity with refugees and migrants and showcase the shared benefits of migration to economies and nations, while also acknowledging legitimate concerns of host communities. Ultimately, it will be about what? Bringing people together and reminding them of their common humanity. Didn't your presidents announce that too? Bringing together the world in case of a so-called alien invasion? Didn't Reagan, Bush, and all those other ones talk about these same exact things? Or is this just a bunch of hoopla? Because I'm telling you, things are only intensifying more and more and more. Now, I had already talked about this and reported this, but I'm going to reiterate it once again because now Tropical Storm Maria is now Hurricane Maria, and it's now a Category 5 storm, and it has become a Category 5 storm within less than a day. Do you see what's going on here? And there are already hurricane warnings that have been issued for Puerto Rico. First Harvey and then Irma and now Maria and Jose. And just like we noted in the video before, Jose and Maria, Joseph and Mary, what are they trying to tell us? Now this gives more a report of Category 5 storm Maria, and I'll be sure to link this in the description box below from USA Today, but it just says right here that a warning has been posted for the entire island of Puerto Rico. Hurricane warnings are also in effect for both the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, along with Guadeloupe, Martinique, and St. Lucia. Puerto Rico governor said that the government has prepared hundreds of shelters capable of housing more than 100,000 evacuees if necessary. Is this what? More preparation, just like we talked about in our Harvey video, and the truth behind it and what Walmart's really doing in FEMA. Are they getting ready for the East Coast? We'll see soon enough, but then this says that the National Weather Service in Puerto Rico warned that catastrophic winds are expected from Maria beginning this afternoon. Quote, locations may be uninhabitable for weeks or months. In addition, quote, major to record rains and flooding are expected to accompany Maria, the Weather Service said. Now we're here at the National Hurricane Center, and as you can see right here, this just gives a brief overview of the storms in the Atlantic. As you can see right here, there's the remnants of Lee, but these are the main two to focus on because Jose is now getting closer and closer and closer more towards the eastern coast, as it's right here listed as a Category 1, and then there's also Maria right here that's listed as a Category 5 with winds up to 160 miles per hour. And as you can see, the storm is now over the Caribbean islands when it comes to Maria, so we see exactly which way it's headed, and it's important that we stay alert, awake, and aware to the world around us and know that this is not a coincidence whatsoever. All of these events that are taking place and transpiring, it's not a surprise or a coincidence whatsoever. But did your government know about Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Jose 8 months before it actually happened? Did they already know what was going to happen 8 months before? Well, let's find out, because now we're actually looking at one of their draconian laws that became a law actually as of September 12, 2017, the exact same day that your UN just so happened to meet. And we're going to be looking at the text from H.R. 3732, which is Emergency Aid to American Survivors of Hurricane Irma and Jose Overseas Act. Now, although this became a law recently, when was it first enacted? Let's find out, because it says here at the 115th Congress at the first session began and held at the city of Washington when? As of the winter time back on 1/3/2017? That was well over 8.5 months ago. How did your Congress know that these storms would produce such great damage? What do they know, especially with Irma and now potentially Jose too? Because now here's the actual act that says to amend Section 1113 of the Social Security Act to provide authority for increased fiscal year 2017-2018 payments for temporary assistance to U.S. citizens returned from foreign countries, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the U.S. and Congress assembled. The title, of course, we just went over this, Emergency Aid to American Survivors of Hurricane Irma and Jose Overseas Act. And what they try to do here is increase in aggregate payments for fiscal year 2017 and 2018 by striking fiscal year 2010 and inserting fiscal years 2017 and 2018, and then by striking that fiscal year and inserting each such fiscal year. And then it says here, the amounts made available by the amendments made by subsection A are designated as an emergency requirement pursuant to Section 4G of the Statutory Pay-As-You-Go Act of 2010. But again, the question I ask you is, what are they really getting ready for? Because just as we went over all of these events that are going on that all have to do with and all relate to pushing for a new world order and a one world government, and all pushing for what? Order out of chaos and the phoenix rising out of the ashes, along with the hurricanes that your Congress knew about 8.5 months ahead of time, if not before that. And even this picture right here that shows you from the film The Day After Tomorrow that was released in 2004, 3 major hurricanes, and then what we saw recently with Katia, Irma, and Jose,